So this should be the third scheduled-ish video that I have. Read the rules if you want to, pause if you need to, otherwise I'm switching back, and yeah, let's get into it. So, I'm gonna try my best to, you know, obey by the rules, question mark? While we're doing this on Harbinger, you don't need to. But, essentially, this idea came from originally a post, and then someone requested it. So, I'm doing it. Also, we have to be Knight Errant backstory, so that's gonna be a load of pain. Random timeline, we'll go with the standard Yashiro, because that makes it harder, in my opinion. Maybe. And yeah, let's find out. So, let me make sure. Old God can be any, right? So, we're going Ath, because we can't use spells or no magical things or spells as we get to Ath, Knight Errant, character exclusive Yashiro. And it's gonna involve RNG, because we need to pick up a katana, and that's gonna be... I can complete the run-ish, technically, but I don't get the katana and I'm dead. So, let's find out. Takushi-san, strength, charisma, knowledge, light, and maybe second encounter. And our faith has to be at least, or above 5, sorry. But essentially, a lot of the rules essentially is going to be basically what I would normally do anyway, except for a few things. So, let me see. Let me make sure. No magic or spell. I'm going to even say I can't forget spells, which means I'm just going to sell this immediately. Well, not forget spells, but try not to learn spells. Again, I'm trying my best here. I'll just say an achievement system for World of War, like a really strict achievement system, wouldn't be impossible. It would just be, not more work. I don't want to say redundant either. I can't find the right words, but basically it'd be a very... not exactly complicated, but can be complicated process. It also depends on the design. If, say, under the assumption that the developer decided to do a system like this. But anywho, I don't think there are any other... I'm trying to make sense of the rules that I have, as we have Botanist, Kana, Hell, Ramen, Metamorphosis. But if we're going to look for the katana, we might as well do it here, right? So, to that end, I am going to actually have Kana here and actually just farm for the katana now. That's why I said it's pretty much RNG. In that case, I should burn the inspiring novel. But yeah, we're gonna try to avoid things. Again, I can't abide by everything because I can't expect a reasonable person to know, say, theoretically, I can try to avoid any spell or magic-based choices, but I can't expect a reasonable person to know that. But anywho, the main reason, though, we are burning the inspiring novel immediately is that we're pretty much using the background set by this challenge to our advantage, which is to look for the katana in the first mystery, where HP scaling is the lowest. And therefore, if we have Kana, that's great as well. It didn't say if we could reroll things, but I won't reroll mysteries. And, yeah, we'll do our best. So, without further ado, we'll do this and do our best, and if we die, again, it's RNG, because katana... If you ask for, basically, an event-based item at base in the game, like katana, it is essentially an RNG challenge, because you're just hoping that you get it. And then you have to pass the stat check, which... You could say that the current achievements that are actually in-game are RNG-based too, but they're less RNG-based than what I'm showing you right now. Also, I didn't mean to visit the seaside, but hey, we'll try talking to them because we have 3 charisma, and man, I don't like Yashiro. But anywho, but yeah, other than that, though, if you have the katana, that's basically an I win button. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you want my objective, or as objective as, or it's kind of subjective. So basically, if you want my opinion on this challenge, it's RNG, and once your RNG is good enough, you pretty much win. Especially if it's any difficulty you want. That's why I'm picking Harbinger, to make it harder on myself. Because otherwise, again, we're just sitting here waiting for the katana. And that's not... To some people, that might not be the most intriguing gameplay. For me, however, I take it because, you know... To me, it's like... It's a challenge, but maybe not in the way that some people expect. So, I'm not saying that it's a good or bad idea, a challenge like this. I'm just saying that, it's what you do. Because, again, the first and foremost rule is that you have to grab the katana... and then complete a run with it. But grabbing the katana in itself is already a pretty much 33% RNG thing. That's my theoretical probability, but you get what I mean. So you're rolling on 33%, and then you're rolling on the rest of the run, depending on some RNG things. So, anywho, if we do get the katana, nice. Also, you have to remember that Yashiro has 4 perception, or 5 perception, sorry, on a non-Harbinger difficulty. Let's try to stray away from Harbinger, even though it does apply to, you can't just, I said something in an earlier video where, this could just be a TED Talk, but I said something in an earlier video where, yeah, while most people aren't playing on a Harbinger, nice kick, by the way, no weapon, viable strat, but anywho, where, I almost lost my train of thought because I got so mad right there, but, as we pretty much die here, and yeah, we'll try again, you know, I'll forget a spell just to, you know, just to get more screen time. Yeah, I said that you can just look at non-Harbinger difficulty because 99% of people, if even that low, are using that. I'm meaning to get lost to find the katana, which we thankfully get. So hey, we finally have a run on our hands now. Unfortunately, I'm about to die, but if we die, so be it. Actually, I want to equip this so I can actually fight ghosts. And yeah, if that didn't happen, though, you can basically I want to give the realities to you. Anyway, let me complete the thought as I pretty much die here, because I'm not going to rest again. That's too much doom. But yeah, 99% of people, if even that low, play on a non-Harbinger difficulty, which means that, well, yes, while you should, in my mind, my average advice would be to kind of balance for that. At the same time, you do want, I personally actually think if I were thinking, you know, not ethically, but personally, would want the game to be more balanced for, you know, hardcore players, not hardcore players, but basically for if you're trying to go for efficiency. Because in the end, I mean, you can't really deny math, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Can I get this? Man, Yashiro's so bad. 64%, by the way. And as you can see, as we move on to the other topic, well, let me finish. Again, let me finish the thought. Gosh dang it. I really don't summarize myself well. But, again, that's why I can kind of give my opinion on this challenge, on how, it's not really, it is very, very RNG based. You can do it, but it's basically, when I'm thinking of most people who, you know, want to get engaged with the game, and therefore some of that involves efficiency, a lot of it involves fun. But, I'm just trying to follow the rules as well. Oh, I can never flee an encounter. That's right. I ran from Moo Ghost, so actually this challenge is already thrown out the window because I ran. But, so if I made a cut, it's because I ran from an encounter. But I don't know when I'm going to be making a cut, so here I am again. I'll give it a couple tries. But again, just to say it outright, it is very RNG based. And I would rather, you know, the game balanced towards, you know, if you're trying to be efficient in the game, because otherwise, like, because the argument is more that if you're not being efficient, right, you can't really feel the balance as much because, like, the numbers aren't there. You're not doing with the optimal actions. And for people who are efficient, the game's only going to get easier if you make the wrong kind of balance decisions. Do you get what I mean? As we have Kana, Scissors, Coma, Metamorphosis, Flood. Also, my Lighthouse changed, but again, I'm hoping for RNG here, so... Also, yeah, I can't run. I basically Kathak, and that's what I'm thinking. But let me complete the thought that I have started 5 minutes ago-ish, and never ended. But, yeah, it's... I would rather things change, and Patstas has made a lot of changes based on the player base, who, for the most part, I mean, it's fun and then actual balance. That's why I think, even though I dunk on dodge a lot, I think dodge is in a better place, because, you know, 40%, and it scales off dexterity time unit wise, that's not great. And then brace was pretty much used by almost everyone that does Harbinger, and maybe even those below, but on easier difficulties there's less damage, so here, like, you might not brace, but anywho, that's right, so I have to fight everything I come across, basically. But that too does fade. I'll talk about that in a moment, but yeah, I think I've kind of hammered the point I'm trying to make to some extent. Not the best. I wasn't the best at articulating it, but at least I've given you, you know, what my thoughts are. Back to the challenge, however. Yeah, so as you can see, my faith is kind of hovering around 5, and completing a mystery usually gets you more faith anyway. So basically, if you can't run from an encounter, if the thought process was, if I'm trying to get into the mind of someone who's making this challenge, if the thought process was, I can't let them escape because either A, I want them to fight everything, or B, because I don't want them to gimp through faith, then that's kind of a non-issue, because by playing optimally, in my opinion at least, you essentially dodge Your faith will essentially increase. Of course, there are a few encounters that, you know, Rumu Ghost really, but the reason for that is that those encounters are few and far between. Like every other encounter, if you're being efficient in, or just in general, because you have to look at the run as a whole, your faith is going to be above 5. Now, if it were above 10, then that would be asking a bit much, in my opinion, so 5 is an okay number. I'm just saying that when you make a rule like that, you're asking us to continue playing efficiently, which, you know, might be the thing you want. It just might not be the thing that the person designing such a challenge would expect. But yeah, we're sitting here waiting for the katana, basically, and we're rolling on a 4 perception, too, so last time I just got really lucky, but we ran into Rumagos, which I ran away from, so... And even if I fought, because yes, Yashiro has the bronze crucifix, but the Rumagos does -2 all damage on Harbinger. Now again, I'm playing on Harbinger because as I get my action cancelled, because if it wasn't on Harbinger, again, it would just be super RNG, because everything after that, the game is currently not in a state where, basically, if you play non-Harbinger difficulty, do anything you want. That's really usually what I say, and it's for a good reason, because you can literally do anything you want. Yeah, obviously you might still die doing certain things, but if you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for, you know, gameplay, fun, yeah, it's not on non-Harbinger, for me at least, and when you learn more of the game, which is another thing that people can talk of or criticize too. It's like, well, once you learn the game, then it becomes the easy thing, and yeah. Anywho, also we have to get lucky. Yeah, so if you get Frostbite Land, we don't get the katana. So again, this is normally what I would expect. The last run we were just really lucky, and now I have to look somewhere else for a for an otherworldly event. And this is the kind of challenge where people would basically jump into the community and ask how you do it, because not everyone knows off the top of their head, as even if they have like under 10 runs under the belt playing for the first time, there's no way they're going to be able to know. But obviously that's why it's an well, that's why some people expect it to be an achievement, right? Because you again, I'm autopiloting because we're just waiting for the katana. This is literally the strat I would use. You would not normally look for the katana in a natural run, but rewind back for a moment. You can't expect people to know, but that's why an achievement, right? You have to go look and achieve it, is what I believe some people would think. But again, when you're looking at the objective information, in my mind anyway, yeah, you're basically hoping. I recently saw someone try to do a challenge, and they got pushed over 90% Doom, and they were on Cultist difficulty. So yeah, it's... This is an RNG challenge, basically. You're hoping for RNG, and you are... Yeah, you have a strat, but a large part of your success depends on the RNG part. It's not that you're using a strat and there's RNG involved. You get what I mean? If it were that would be another thing. But because this specifically asks for an item that can only be achieved in an event that you have to roll a stat check for, that you also have to roll and see if you get the right event once you force yourself into this said one of 3 set events, then yeah. Anywho, I think I'm gonna die here again. You know what? If for nothing else, this video exists to kind of if anyone were to think of any challenges and whatnot, here's my... Because it's been a long time since I've done something like this. Very long time, so here we are. And I would even say the, what's the challenge? The Holy Candle Challenge is a lot easier than this, because, well, one, you don't have to succeed, but that's a whole other topic of discussion entirely, as I throw these things, pretty much, and I throw the Demon Mask, why not? But if you were, say to... But the Holy Candle Challenge is literally easier because you don't have to survive a run. But obviously, that's the whole point of a player-made challenge, right? Is to, as I mute myself and cough, you know, people making such a challenge would want you to survive, because, you know, that's feeling of accomplishment when you survive. The only problem is, again, if I were to play Devil's Advocate, and I run into Glitch Magician again, is that, there is RNG involved. That's the period. That's the point that every single thing I'll talk about in this video about would be. I'm just so flabbergasted. How many attacks did I miss? No weapons is a viable strat. Not for me, anyway. So 80% chance for a kick, and one of them is guaranteed. One of them Yeah, one of them is guaranteed, so really we're looking at a 0 out of 4 for an 80% accurate thing. Well, yeah, I hit those other 2 kicks, but still. Hold on, let me rant about this, because... So, yeah, here, 80%, 80%, 2, 3, 4, 5, so, 6, sorry. What am I counting? So 2 out of 6, 33% practical accuracy on a, on an 80% theoretical probability. Again, this is why I hate RNG personally, so this is a subjective opinion, but at the same time, you can't ignore people who have bad RNG. You get what I'm saying? So, I think we die here unless we forget things, so... While we can't use spells, you know, if I say we want to forget spells, because, you know, if you want to be even more strict, yeah, don't interact with spells at all, but in my opinion, I think it would be of the... It fits into the lore of the challenge to forget spells, because you don't like spells, right? Anywho. Yeah, village is the last possible, location. Of course, you could use a custom event, but obviously when the person making this challenge made this challenge, whoever they may be, I assume they were thinking about base events, because otherwise what I could do is just make a bunch of custom events, and some of them, if not all, a lot of them, or all of them, you know, if you want to go crazy, would be an event that either gives you a katana or rolls on a katana. Now, if you made a challenge, here's where we can be a bit constructive as we get into another run, but if you made a challenge and then added custom events in every location that had a chance of you giving you katana, then yes. And for those who don't know, I don't know how many people test this way. I know I test this way though, because a lot of people question how to test, you know, a singular event. How I do it is basically I just make the event or make the structure, or when I'm trying to test it, I copy the event like 10 times in my event folder and then just set the game to only use custom events, quote unquote, and therefore I will always get my event. You get what I mean? Yes, you might get certain things, like on Ath, I can get the Glitch Magician, but for the most part, you're going to be able to test your event. That's kind of my workaround. You don't have to do it that way, but it's the fastest way I test my own events and mysteries as well. So, just a little, if you've listened this far into the video, I'll give you some tips as well, but otherwise, we'll try this one more time. Because, yeah, and I got Kana 3 times in a row. That's lucky. If I weren't, though, again, if you've... rewinding back to something I haven't finished, if someone is not unlucky, you have to think about the challenge from their perspective as well, which is why a lot of achievements in Roll of War aren't as bad, because you don't have to survive. But if you want, like, you know, to challenge someone, the challenge has to... That's why a lot of my challenges, I'll probably put a link in the description below, of the challenges I made usually don't depend too much on RNG. Some of them do, but that's because I'm just going out of my mind, and I know a lot of people don't do my challenges, so I'm just going to do things that are fun for me. This, however, yeah, is a lot of RNG. Also, why am I doing these investigations? I have to set the police station to the seaside now. But, or not seaside. What am I doing? Why did I go in here? Anywho. Well, mansion, but, yeah. Even me selecting the mansion here has a purpose, because there's this event that gets you a free ritual or a free mass for whatever reason. Either sell it, equip it, whatever. And then, again, I'm telling you basically what would happen if you gave this challenge to someone who's more in the know. They would just farm the first mystery for katana so that things are as easy as they can be. And then you just blow through everything, because when you get the katana, it is literally one of the best weapons in the game. Again, the only reason why it might not be at the top is because you have to get it, and that's RNG based. So there is an inherent cost to it, which is why I support the developer when the developer decides never to... nerf or touch katana again, because this is the cost. You have to roll on RNG. I've already died in 2 out of 3 runs. And yeah, and then you fail this, and then basically when you fail this, if for anyone making a challenge similar to this, you basically have to re-roll. You're gonna go through every distinct event, usually, if not all the time. So what this means is that now that I failed that event, I can't run into it until I run into the otherworldly events, which means... One, I have to roll these because it's going to be Upper Kingdom, and then the third one is probably going to be Frostbite Land. Again, a quick little TED Talk on how these events work. And now I'm going to visit the village. It's probably going to be Frostbite Land. And then I have to roll for the events that bring me to the otherworldly location again. Again, by this time I'm beating a dead horse, but it is still kind of more objective information with my subjective opinion, of course. Because if your RNG is good, then your opinion would be, oh, it's an easy challenge, because I did it. But here, as you can see, I am not so lucky. So, Here you go. But again, the person who actually gave me this challenge is more, curious as to see how it could work. So I wanted to at least do it to show what would happen if you at least gave this to me. I don't know about anyone else. For those who don't know how to get the katana or is not as, knowledgeable about World of War, they might look at it. I would guess they might look at it as an interesting challenge, and then figure out how the mechanics of World of War actually work, and it's be like, well, this is not great. Again, that's what I believe others might think, but for me, I'm giving it to you as straight as I can. I'm not going to pretend like it can actually be. Oh, that's it's an interesting and can be a fun challenge, but not like this. So again, if nothing else, the takeaway from this video is, if you were to give a challenge like this, you can play with custom events. Basically, play with custom events. You don't even have to make a lot of events. Just make one good event. The art can even be anything you want. And then allow us to roll on katana. And add, 3 copies of the event in each location. That would be my way of introducing this challenge. Because then, already asking for Yashiro. And yeah, any difficulty, sure. But, again, as I said before, any difficulty with any character, if you're not on Harbinger, it doesn't matter what your challenge rules are, because you literally play any non-Harbinger difficulty. Maybe True Believer. True Believer is the pushing point. Let me run that back. I won't be too hot-headed about this, I feel. But, yeah, it's on True Believer, and then if you, gave some things, obviously that's hard to implement in an actual achievement system, but I'm trying to cover all the different possibilities and realities of people thinking of challenges, so yeah. Another version of this challenge would be to go to the 410 billion event and get the police revolver, because that's one of the few locations that you can get it, which at least there are a few locations, but here, as we go into Frostbite Land, as I said. So once you do this, you have to roll for the event to get you again, because this portal won't appear until pretty much you exhaust the deck of cards that is in a location, as I've said before. But for those who don't know, basically you can also think of World of Horror as a... Well, I might as well do it here before the video ends. So downtown is a deck of cards where it has every event, and you have to draw, and once it exhausts itself, then every event can usually be rolled again. Some events might repeat earlier. Again, if that happens, that's normally not what happens. But yeah, now that I visited the mansion, say that I went into the mansion event that took me to the other world first, that means I would pretty much roll through every event, not enemy, event, until I could reach that otherworldly event again. So basically, I'm locked into a number of investigations guaranteed until I can roll again. So if I don't get the katana, that run has failed. But, and as another kind of bottom line for me anyway, is that when I make a challenge, I usually try to think of, what if someone is running a series of challenge? Again, that's kind of extreme, but anywho, we'll try. I could also rest. I should also just doom out. But, this will help, kind of, but I'm probably going to die to stamina or reason beforehand. In fact, I'm dying to stamina right now, funny enough. But, yeah. So, without further ado, that'll probably be the end of this video. I should just do end of video stuff now. That way, I'm not wasting your time. So, without further ado, if you want to support this channel, or if you want to hear more from me, I asked, but if you want to support the channel as of right now, please subscribe to the channel. I'll probably be saying something else in a bit, because my personal situation is a bit wonky, but that's for me to solve and less for you to figure out. But it will affect me here at this channel if things do not happen the way I expect. So, therefore I should say something at least. But, yeah, as we go through... Did I really get... no, that was something else. Anywho. So, yeah, I'm gonna go through. I probably haven't exhausted it yet. I think there are at least 10 location-based events. There are exceptions, like the Glitch Magician does not follow the encounter rule. Unless it's a... Well... so basically, if I find a mansion enemy, I can't run into any mansion enemies, but I can run into the Glitch Magician, or vice versa. And for the mansion events, yeah, I have yet to exhaust the deck of cards, so here's another mansion question mark encounter. And I might as well just do everything here. That's going to lower my chance to get the katana, but I've already exhausted, what I want to say about that. So, is this guaranteed, by the way? I might as well do some science while I'm here. 6, right? This is 6 damage? Yeah, 6. Kick is base 2 times 2 plus 2 from Advanced Sparring Novel, so okay. Level up because, we can't run away, so actually stealth is useless here, but I'm assuming all perks can also be used as well if I were to say anything more on this challenge. And as you can see, my faith is 9. Again, that's just the consequence of playing optimally. But again, if someone were to play it, then their faith is like, how do I put my faith to 5? Then that is something useful where they can learn how to play more efficiently, I guess, just number-wise. Now, is it more fun? No, because I don't believe Yashiro is the most fun character, but he can be. It's just that he's definitely in my bottom 3, if I were to make a tier list off the top of my head. So, yeah, and then surviving the run, obviously, that's a thing. Now, if the achievement were just to, do a thing and then not survive, then fine. But obviously, again, as I said before, when I'm thinking of people who want to make challenges for World of Horror, they want to have the splendor of, oh, I survived, the good feelings of surviving and then actually achieving something. I agree too. It's just that the challenge, there's not only so much you can do, because again, you can be creative about this. It's just that if you're limiting it this much to also base events and everything in the game, yeah, it's not as likely. So we finally got back to this event. Do I have the katana? Nope, because I rolled an 8. And Yashiro can only have upwards of 5 or 6 perception possible, unless you're planning to get the katana later, but that's a whole other problem. So without further ado, I hope you've at least learned something in this video. If you've enjoyed seeing me fail RNG or, enjoyed the talks I've had, then I'd like to thank you. And I feel much, you're very much welcome, but I feel much obliged for anyone who humbles me in that way. So, any comments as well? You know what to do, so I'll see you later. Ugh!